what was most traumatic for me growing up was the fact that the person I knew I was instinctively was not acknowledged. Um, I think it was my mother's intent to protect me from feeling different that she made a point to treat me like I was like everyone else. And yet I wasn't. I knew I wasn't like everyone else. So, of course, the message I got was it's bad to be different. And the ideal is you need to be like everyone else. So I took it as I have to do everything anyone tells me to do. Well, okay, I get into my 40s and 50s, and I'm still, if someone says, this is what you should do, I think I have to do it.
Hi, I'm Staci Neustadt. I am a speech language pathologist and the CEO at Making Sense of Autism, and I'm a student of Susan.
And I'm Susan Golubock. I am a now retired occupational therapist who has worked many, many years after I discovered even my own autism with other autistic individuals. I founded Making Sense of Autism because of my passion to not only understand my brain and how it worked differently, but to try to explain what I've learned to other people so that they're more understanding and therefore more accepting and more accommodating to autistic individuals.
So, our goal is to help you provide the right support without trying to fix autism, but by understanding it. So, whether you're a parent, teacher, therapist, or just someone who wants to learn, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe and join us every week. We talk about a new topic. I always make sure that they know what goals they're working on. But when I learned about self-awareness, I took it even a step further of why are you working on these goals? Talking about what's hard, what's easy. And sometimes I have clients who are amazing with their self-awareness. Like, I'm impressed because I wish I knew that when I was their age. And then I have other clients who their self-awareness, I can tell, is not there at all. And actually, I have a couple clients I've known for a really long time. One of them is in their 20s, and self-awareness really isn't there. And we have some forms that I'll link below to kind of help build on self-awareness, but I think I realized that self-awareness doesn't develop when we meet an individual's needs all the time and they don't have to problem solve or they don't have to go through and journey, oh, what is hard for me, what is easy for me, because nothing is hard because all the problems are solved. So, Sue, I want to talk about this today because in our soft skills assessment at the foundation is self-awareness, self-acceptance. So, from your perspective, why is that the foundation for all soft skills? And why do you feel like as therapists, as teachers, even as parents, we need to start developing that as soon as we can if it isn't there?
I totally, totally agree. I think the what was most traumatic for me growing up was the fact that the person I knew I was instinctively was not acknowledged. Um, I think it was my mother's intent to protect me from feeling different that she made a point to treat me like I was like everyone else. And yet I wasn't. I knew I wasn't like everyone else. So, of course, the message I got was it's bad to be different. And the ideal is you need to be like everyone else. So I took it as I have to do everything anyone tells me to do. Well, okay, I get into my 40s and 50s, and I'm still, if someone says, this is what you should do, I think I have to do it. I had no sense of self my entire life until I discovered autism. And then I recognized that's the person I was born to be. That's the person I have a right to be. And I went through the whole process of discovering myself at age 50 after 25 years of being married, and I still had no sense of self. It would frustrate my husband because he would say, well, I want to do something you want. What do you want? And my response was, I don't know what's a want. I mean, I didn't even know what it meant to say. I didn't even have any wants of my own. I just was, well, no, whatever you want, that's fine. I was so compliant. And yet I was considered the good girl because I always did what I was told. Now, my younger sister, who I also recognize as autistic, went the opposite direction. Oh, she had a strong sense of self, and she wasn't going to give it up for anyone. And she was constantly in trouble because of it. But she stuck to her guns, and I'm going to do things my way, and this is how I am. She had a very strong sense of self. And I think this is the dilemma that a lot of autistics are facing. They have to make that choice. Which way am I going to go to survive in this world? Is I'm going to hang on to that self I know, and I'm going to kick and scream and fight and yell if I have to, and get punished if I have to. But I don't care. I'm not going to give up that sense of self because that's who I am and I want to be and I like to be. Versus, I totally give up all sense of self. Look how vulnerable and open to being abused that I was by being, quote, taken care of my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I never learned how to deal with things. By the time I was going away to college, I had an out of body experience. I was so terrified of having, I don't know, I am not prepared to live the world by myself without somebody telling me what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And this is what we're, we're these are the options we're giving our autistic kids. Who ever sits down and talks, parents should be the first ones. Oh, yeah, you have autism. That just means you're different. It means this is how your brain works. Mine works a little bit differently, but it's okay.
Yes.
Parents should be starting to teach them what what it means to be autistic. And the Autistic Self-Advocacy Networks has put out books. In fact, there's a lot of books out there to explain to kids about autism and explain to their peers about autism. Are we educating them about themselves so that they feel, hey, it's okay to be autistic. There's things I can, yeah, there's things I don't do as well, but there's things I really do very
Yeah.
well. So I have a sense of what my strengths are, what my the barriers that I'm gonna have to figure out how to get around and be more tolerant of and advocate for those things that trigger me and stress me out. How am I going to deal with life? No one's teaching me how to deal with life as an autistic. They keep pushing me to be who I'm not. And therefore I learned to mask. And that's affecting my mental health.
Absolutely. And I love how you shared your sister's journey. Because even in working with non-speaking autistic individuals, I see my clients who are persistent and maybe, demonstrate behaviors. And I feel like those are the ones, even though they're non-speaking, have a very strong sense of self. They know what they
Mm-hmm.
want and they're going to persist to get that, which then,
Mm-hmm.
again, shows up as behavior. But holy cow, what a strength. Let's not shut that down. Let's not squash it, which I know certain compliance-based therapies do. But please don't, because then you're squashing that sense of self. And then on your side, you have compliance, which you mentioned, like that puts individuals at risk. They don't feel safe saying no. They don't feel safe sharing their wants. And then that, that sense of self just slowly disappears. And how sad is that? And then you have mental health issues, right? As you grow up because you have no sense of self. So I love that you're sharing this, as this is why it is that foundation. So the individuals, excuse me, the individuals that have that sense of self can continue to move through those soft skills development. But if they don't, we have to start there. And I think this is really, really important too on why compliance-based therapies do a disservice
Yes.
to neurodivergent and autistic individuals. Because if we
Mhm.
focus so much on compliance, they will not build that sense of self. And I think people feel a lot of tension with that because they're like, well, but they have to obey, they have to follow the rules. And it's such a misconception. You can still build someone's sense of self and set boundaries. That's
Mhm.
exactly why we have the tools of give and take, why we have and teach how to have a balanced relationship. When
Mhm.
it's compliance, it's not balanced. So you
Mhm.
can still build self-awareness and have a healthy relationship.
Mhm.
I love that.
Absolutely.
So, holy cow, in this short time, we've unpacked so much. I'm going to put the links below for the tools that we have. And they're really, the tool is just questions that you're going to think about, making sure you're asking your child, you're asking your client, you're asking your student so that they start to build some self-awareness. And then I'll also drop some resources, like Sue mentioned, on some books for self-awareness. I love the Differently Wired Brain book. That's an excellent book as well. So we're going to drop a lot of resources below. Make sure to check them out because this is such an important topic. And as I mentioned, this is the foundation to one of our assessment tools, the soft skills assessment, that will be available with our assessment tools. That opens in a couple weeks on October 14th. It will only be available in our course that is for all professionals. So be sure to subscribe and like and share us because this is such an important movement of seeing autistic individuals through a lens to see their strengths, to see the amazing things that everyone does and has. So thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Stacy.